Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, yes, tamu sana. One of our fans here has sent me a video of Uhuru Kenyatta being cheered wildly in Dubai. And those cheering Uhuru Kenyatta in Dubai are shouting Azimio. And I felt this video was worth analyzing and discussing here. So in this video right now, I want us to have a look at that short clip of Uhuru Kenyatta in Dubai, after which, as usual, we are just going to dissect it to see exactly what it means politically. Have a look at this. That's Uhuru Kenyatta in Dubai and not in Kondele, Kisumu or in Kiambu. What does that mean politically? That's our analysis and discussion right now. In case you've just bumped here for the very first time, kindly subscribe, give this video a like. Thank you, God bless you, God bless Kenya. Looking at that short clip, it's very clear that those shouting Azimio, most likely they are Kenyans. And that is just an indication that Azimio is not only being embraced locally, but is also being embraced in the diaspora. That's something that's coming out clearly looking at that short clip. And now to bring it closer home in our Kenyan context, as things are in Kenya today, what is the situation in Kenya today? As I talk, we have two camps in Kenya. One camp is against Azimio, while another camp is pro-Azimio. We have those two camps. So let's start with this camp that is against Azimio for us to actually understand what is happening or have the reality or have the political reality in Kenya today. Let's start with this camp that are against Azimio. If you look at this team that is against Azimio, they are being led by William Ruto and his team. And largely, if you look at this group, largely, they want the status quo to be maintained. The status quo that has ruled Kenya since independence, William Ruto and that team, they want that status quo to be maintained. They don't want anything altering that status quo. And if you look at this team that is pro-Azimio, they want some change. Since independence, they have always felt left out of the government. They have always felt marginalized. So they want a change to that exclusion, and also they want a change to that marginalization. These are two camps we have in Kenya today. Let's now dig into those against Azimio. Since independence, status quo has all along been bad ethnic politics of division, rigged elections, corruption, and marginalization. This team that doesn't want Azimio, they want that to continue. And when I talk about bad ethnic politics of division, let me give this as an example. In 2018, upon Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga shaking hands, that was now dubbed the Handshake, this team of William Ruto immediately started attacking Uhuru and Raila Amolo Odinga. They were against the handshake. And the reason they were against that handshake was nothing else but they were now seeing that their clear roadmap to power was now being blocked. What was their roadmap to power? They wanted to use the ethnic divisions that have all along existed between the Luos and the Kikuyus to ride to power. That's exactly what they wanted to use. And in the event there was no handshake between Uhuru and Raila, they could have attained that power. So when Uhuru and Raila shook hands, that bridge or that gap was bridged. So these people felt that their path to power was actually being blocked. They had to oppose that handshake. And actually, they are still opposing it up to today. And then in terms of rigged election, it's very clear again that this other team opposing the handshake, all along they have benefited from previous rigged elections. If I talk of 2007, if I talk of 2013, and also in 2017, they have actually largely benefited from those elections from those rigged elections. So they wanted that to continue. They wanted a system where elections can be rigged so that actually they can attain that power. But with the handshake, they felt that now the system won't be favorable to them. They felt that the handshake brought some new players, and these new players are actually altering the status quo. So the system was not to be for them, or rather the system was not to be favorable to them. They had to oppose that handshake. If you talk about corruption, if you look at William Ruto, the way he started his politics, William Ruto started his national politics in the early 90s. And he started his politics on a platform of YK92. YK92 was majorly based on corruption and hooliganism. That's how William Ruto started his politics. Look at Rigathi Gachagua. This was an administrator in Moi government, Nyayo government, a government that was seen to be very oppressive, a government that was also dogged of corruption. Rigathi Gachagua, who is now even being seen, or rather touted, as a possible running mate to William Ruto, he was part of that government. So this is a team that largely, they don't want anything altering the status quo. They see Azimio as altering that status quo. And if the status quo is altered, they are seeing their path to power getting dim and dimmer each passing day. And also on top of all that points I've said, also on the mountain, there used to be a Raila phobia in the mountain. And it never mattered the kind of development you are done for your people. You just had to insult Raila or to paint Raila Odinga in bad light. And you will be elected on the mountain those previous years. So these leaders just used to hang on to Raila's coat. And they just used to insult Raila for them to get elected. They had no concrete idea for their people, just but to abuse Raila Odinga. But with the handshake, they are now forced to come out with some concrete ideas what they are actually going to do to their people. It's now not just about insulting Raila Odinga. The handshake has actually bridged that gap. So these leaders who have all along been using Raila's name, they now must go back to the drawing board to come up with concrete ideas, concrete solutions, or rather concrete reasons, or rather concrete solutions, let me put it that way, they can offer to their people and not just attacking and abusing Raila Odinga. So that exactly explains these people who are against the Azimio team. Or rather, that explains well this team that are against Azimio. That's largely what they stand for. They stand for status quo, and they don't want anything altering that status quo. And then on this other side of pro-Azimio, it's very clear that this is a team that for so many years, they have felt left out of the government. They have felt excluded from previous governments. So they want to be part of that government. They want also to be feel part of that government. They have actually suffered rigged elections. They have gone to the ballot and they have casted their votes. But those votes have been stolen in those previous elections. So they want a system where they can go to the ballot, cast their votes, and that vote will actually count. That's exactly what they want. And then they also want this bad ethnic stereotyping also to end. And when I talk bad ethnic stereotyping, just as I've been stating here, William Ruto has been using some narratives anytime he's on the mountain. Wale watu wa kurusha mawe, wale watu wa kung'oa reli. This Azimio team, they want such kind of narratives and such kinds of stereotyping to actually end. That's exactly what they stand for. And now looking towards August, I'm seeing a situation that is going to be similar to what United States of America went through in the early 1860s during the American Civil War. At that time, there used to be enslavement of black people in the United States of America. There were people who were benefiting from that enslavement of the black people. They were using the blacks in their cotton farms, so they never wanted enslavement of black people to stop. But Abraham Lincoln, the then president of the United States of America, stood firm, and actually, after the Civil War, enslavement of black people actually was abolished. I'm seeing a situation where come 9th of August this year, Kenyans are going to the ballot. And I'm equating that ballot to the Civil War that was in America in the early 1860s. Kenyans are going to end enslavement of the black people. And the enslavement of Kenyans in this case is this ills, the status quo that has all along dogged the Kenyan situation since independence. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, in case you've just bumped here, just as I did state, kindly subscribe, give this video a like. God bless you. God bless Kenya.